Slingshot RoundTable on Axum Outdoor Adventures. Thank you guys for all joining me. We have a full house today with, let me look, 1, 2, at least 3 new timers on here. So let's start with those guys. Go around and introduce yourself and plug any social media you may have, because we have more viewers at the beginning of the video than the end, so we want to be sure to get that in there. Linder, since you're on my screen, you want to go ahead and start?
Yeah, sure. I'm Linder. I have a YouTube channel. It is Linder Sucks. And I don't know what else you want me to say. I shoot slingshots mildly successfully.
I'd say it's more than mildly. You're a pretty good shooter.
Well,
And
thanks.
yeah, I really enjoy your videos because you dig a little deeper into the stuff that I want. I went back and watched a couple of your videos more than once just to kind of absorb the lesson you were teaching. That's the kind of stuff I like, is stuff that shows me stuff, that teaches me stuff. So appreciate that.
Yeah, I don't have the time or energy to be like the prolific YouTubers that a lot of people are, that just like hop on and just make videos constantly. Like, I wish I could do that. I really do, but I don't have the energy for that. So I try to make each one be actually valuable to people, because if I'm going to be low volume, I want to be high value. That's the idea anyway.
Yeah. The Z list of YouTubers is an exclusive club that we belong to. So
that's right.
I'd rather produce quality content than quantity. So
we all have our own channel, and we all just follow each other's channels, and that's all.
So go ahead and pass it off to who's next on here. Dana, looks like.
It's me. I'm Dana. I have no social media, and I shoot slingshots.
You shoot
So
slingshots.
I'm married to Linder, and I tied him at Hocking Hills.
That's what
we tied for 10th place at Hocking Hills. Yeah.
Yeah, she's a good shooter too. And I know you're a fan of Cheez-Its because we sat and shared a box of those. As we were chatting, that was a fun little chat, sit around there.
I gotta ask, was that white cheddar Cheez-Its or just Cheez-Its?
They were straight up Cheez-Its.
Oh, okay.
I thought they were white cheddar. I can't remember.
No, I think they were basic bitches, but they were good.
Yeah.
Andrew, how much are you getting paid from the Cheez-It company to plug that right here?
I think the sponsorship deal is going to fall through. I don't think they even opened my emails, to be honest.
We're gonna start shooting at Cheez-Its for targets.
That would be awesome.
So, Zach, was that all you had to say, Dan? Did you want to add any more?
I have nothing to plug.
Cool.
I show up, I shoot, I say some funny things, and then I leave.
It's a good
That's
time.
what I do.
Zach, you want to go ahead and introduce yourself?
Yeah, I'm Zach. I also shoot slingshots. I got a YouTube channel, Zachs Slingshots, basically because I'm not creative. So Zach and slingshots is what happened. Yeah, that's all I got.
I don't know that I'd say you're not creative. I think I sent you a message or commented on one of your videos the other day. I can't remember which one I did, but yeah, I've really been enjoying your videos as well too. You are making good use of your editing stuff.
All my stuff's done on a phone. I don't have like a computer or anything. So
well, I know you told me that at Joe's, so I specifically was paying attention to the editing, and you're doing really well with the minimal equipment you have. So I wonder.
Do you do all your editing on your phone, Zach?
Yeah, yep.
Wow.
All on the phone. Nice and simple.
Zach, are you InShot? Is that what you're using?
I have InShot, but I don't use that. I use what's it called? UCut or something. It's like a dumbed down version of InShot. InShot is pretty simple in itself, but I just haven't messed with it too much. I use InShot to make my thumbnails though. I do that. I make my thumbnails on InShot.
Yeah, I really like InShot for the photo. I mean, I use it sometimes for video, but that's what I go to mostly for my thumbnails, InShot, because it's so easy there on your phone.
So I haven't used InShot as much because if you don't pay for it, if you use like the free version, it's got the little InShot watermark on there, and that drives me up the wall, so I don't do it.
Yeah, I bought the paid version, but it's only like $30 for lifetime.
Yeah.
Hey, Andrew, I'm sorry to interrupt. Do you mean for us to be looking at the back of your head?
I was playing with my cameras, and I'm actually in the process of switching it
There we
back.
go. All right, cool. Wanted to make sure.
We also have a new guy who ran away, Andrew. There's a new guy hanging out with another guy in here that's
Oh yeah, get Tim Hemry back.
Yeah, I don't know what he's doing. His parents asked me to babysit him, so I'm here. I'm taking care of him. For real, we're doing a hunting trip weekend. We've already been successful, so we're pretty happy.
Nice.
So,
That's cool. What are you guys hunting?
we mostly squirrels. Tim, I got on video camera. He actually got a perfect shot on a black squirrel. So it's pretty
Nice.
impressive.
You know, I'm glad you're over at Tim's actually, because I asked him at Hocking Hills if he'd be interested in joining these, and then I forgot to add him to that group. But I hadn't actually spoken to him.
Tim sticks to himself. He just makes frames.
Well, we specifically had a little talk about doing something like this, and he mentioned he might be willing to do it. So,
well, we'll get him on. He's got all the trophies in the back.
A few more beers, maybe he'll get on.
Sit down, Timmy.
So you guys were already in the. Hey Tim, good to have you here. Go ahead and plug your channel.
Tim Hemry on YouTube, Tim Hemry on Facebook, Coyote Slings on Facebook.
So you remember when I came up to your booth at Hocking Hill and I asked you about maybe doing some Zoom interviews and stuff? I don't know if you remember that, but this is what I was talking about. I just forgot to add you to the Facebook group.
Oh, that's all right.
So good. I'm glad you're able to join. So you guys were already kind of chatting about slingshots and stuff when I joined because I was having some audio problems. You guys were showing a frame there that Tim made, I think.
Yeah,
What did I miss?
3D printed. I had my friend make it because I don't have a printer right now, but
Oh, cool.
turned out pretty nice. It's 20% infill, and it weighs 0.9 ounces.
And
It's
you
super
said,
lightweight.
I heard you mention that the material it was made out of, but I don't own a 3D printer and I don't know anything about them. So is that some
PLA.
It's some kind of plastic, PLA.
Yeah, polylactic acid, PLA.
There you go.
Okay.
Yeah.
I saw them building houses out of 3D printers. I thought that was pretty crazy.
Yeah, with that
Oh
mud
yeah,
looking stuff.
those concrete printers.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
those are
it's concrete. I had a friend of mine who printed me some 3D printed slingshot targets, and obviously he didn't know a whole lot about slingshots, or else he would know that they wouldn't last very long. But
I was getting ready to ask how did they hold up?
They do make some kind of flexible material that you can 3D print, but
Absolutely.
I don't know how they would do it for targets.
yeah, I made a video of shooting them. I mean, in one shot, they just destroyed. It was fun though.
So the reason I actually brought that up even before we started recording is that I wanted to show you all this. This is my own design. I designed this with 3D software and then printed it. That is a twist lock, and that's an ammo sorter.
Awesome.
So,
I thought it was a grinder
Oh,
for
that's
a
dope.
minute.
Yeah, that's what I
It
thought
does
too.
look kind of like a grinder.
A big ass grinder.
Yeah.
I mean, I've heard that's what they look like.
Right, yeah, I wouldn't know. But the pieces all twist into each other, so like it locks in place and won't come open.
That is
And
very
you got a lid and then modulate. There's only one in here right now, but you could do several different layers. And just like that's just 3D printed as well.
That's genius actually, because I made some ammo sorters out of coolant containers. And I just drilled holes in the bottom and I have different sizes. I mean it works, but that's really slick.
Yeah. The next, I think the next tournament's not till the ACC in April, but I think before then, I'm going to try to just have a bunch of these printed out and just take them with and have them available there.
You should sell them. I mean, is it cost efficient to make them and sell
Yeah, I think it probably would be. That's what I meant. Take them with and have them available for sale there.
them? Okay, cool. I thought you meant just to sort your ammo.
Well, that too. I mean, I'll probably just toss one or two on the practice range for people to use, but if you want to take one home, you could probably buy it.
Yeah, I'll buy one of those. I plan on going to ACC. I mean, April's a little ways off, so I hope nothing comes up before then, but who else has plans to go or tentative plans?
Yeah, I'd really like to go. I've got it on my calendar, but that's when I get busy at my work. So I hope I can make it work. But yeah, last year was my first gonna step into any tournament and stuff, and it was so much fun. I'm trying to get to as many of them as I can next year.
Yeah.
Don't ask me to rank like tournaments because I wouldn't be able to, but I do think if you were to say that, I could only make 2 or 3 in a year, like I think ACC would be on it. I really, really enjoyed ACC last year. A lot of fun.
Sorry, Linder. I just wanted to ask if, like, I was kind of new to the sport and I was curious about some of the tournaments in the area, or like tournaments in just the slingshot world in general in the United States. How would I find out about them?
Well, Michael Coinworker, let me tell you about this. Thank you for the softball for the plug. Man, I do a lot of stuff and then just completely fail to promote it because I absolutely suck at self-promotion. But I have a website that is live that is slingshotcalendar.com, and you can go there and see all of that. I think I got all the past events from last year, and everything I know about that has dates for next year should be up there. I think there might be some dates for like AIM that I haven't put on there yet. But yeah, slingshotcalendar.com would be a great place to go to find out when and where things are and some details about each one.
That is
It's
awfully
really nice
convenient.
design too.
Yeah.
Really good layout, really good icons.
Yeah, I did not. I'm not a web designer, but I happen to be very close to somebody who's quite good at that. And she happens to be in the other room right next to mine right now, and also on this call. So thank you for doing all that design, Dana.
Oh,
Okay,
you were
cool.
talking about me. I thought there was somebody else in my house.
Nope.
So you're a web designer, Dana? I knew you guys were both in IT, but I wasn't sure exactly what you did.
I'm not a web designer, I'm a web developer, but I've done some web design. I like to think that I have an eye for design, that's maybe I don't, but I believe I do.
Well, there's at least a few people in this chat that think you do, so that's pretty cool.
Dana, I think the only thing missing on that website is the little ticker at the bottom that counts how many times it's been visited.
Oh, well, and some scrolling text and like a burning fire, like GIF.
Yes.
We need some scrolling text, some blinking text, and a fire GIF, and then we're golden.
So I wasn't aware of that website. Michael, before we leave here, Micahel Linder, send me, or I don't know, you send me that in the chat, and I'll go ahead when I edit this and I'll put it up on the screen.
Cool. Yeah, like I said, I'm just terrible at self-promotion. I make things and I'm like, oh, people would probably like this. And then I never tell anybody that I did it. So, but now I think this is going to be posted on YouTube. So I guess it's out there now. Yeah, I'll put that in the chat.
Yeah, I'm an attention whore.
And since it's going to be posted on YouTube, if you host a tournament or know somebody who hosts a tournament, tell them to send information. Like ideally, what this would do, a thing that happened at Hocking Hills, I heard this over and over again, was Scott having to tell people, no, don't go to where your GPS told you to go. Go to this other place. And that's clearly pretty exhausting. So if you are a tournament host and you want to just put a picture of the map with little boxes pointing to the right entrance, you'll probably reduce those questions by some small percentage. People don't read, so probably not a large percentage, but some.
I love this idea.
Right. That's also if Michael can get on the promotion train and get that out there.
Yeah, I know. One of these days, I just look, if I'm being perfectly honest, I do a thing and I'm like, yeah, but if I did it, it's probably not that valuable. Like if I can do it, nobody's gonna care. Which I know is not true. I know, but I don't know.
Well, speaking of Linder's good ideas, that the video that you made with the we talked about some of the videos that you make, the high value videos. The one that you did with the fork width, the explanation about different fork widths. I mean, that was extremely helpful. I mean, I can imagine to like new shooters that aren't familiar with why that makes a difference. That's a great video to watch. And there's other people that have tried to explain that same concept, but the way you visualized it, I thought was really good. I'm all about that. I'm a very visual person, so when you're going to put it into those types of terms instead of just explaining it, I thought it was great.
Thank
Well, I'll
you.
tell
Yeah,
you the
that's.
one-
Go ahead, Andrew.
No, I'll tell you the one video of yours that I really liked, and I've watched it a couple of times, is just the simple dropping the ammo on the coin. I
Yeah.
was like, wow, that is so genius and so simple that I never thought of that. I mean, I really like that video. I watched it a few times.
Thank you. Yeah, every now and then something just like pops in my head, and I'm like, oh, that would be cool, and so I make it. Like that fork width video is still my most watched video, and that's what, probably close to a year old maybe, and I was actually gearing up to make it because I had it all like set out in my mind. And then right before I hit record, I was like, wait a minute, my wife loves googly eyes. I know we have googly eyes in this house somewhere. I need to put I need to literally represent somebody's eyes with googly eyes just to put that little accent on it. And it ended up working out great.
They're literally in this closet back here behind me, just like giant googly eyes.
Yeah, to this day,
Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Luke.
Well, to this day, when I'm thinking about shooting a different size frame than I'm used to, if I go up, I visualize that video when you said, imagine somebody holding a giant slingshot, and I imagine someone holding like a 5 foot wide fork frame slingshot and having to put my arm way down to get towards the middle of that slingshot. I'm like, okay, I got to go down for wider slingshots, up for narrower frames.
Yep.
But it's like, I don't know. Something like that will just stick with somebody. Like back in school, you saw a teacher would say something that just like stuck with you, and you can remember to this day. Now that's how I felt about that video.
I still do that too, for what it's worth. I gave that tip because I do that every time. Like every time I'm thinking about it, I'm just like, okay, imagine it's like 5 feet tall or 5 feet wide, and where are you looking? Like, yeah, I still do it every time.
I may have told you this at one of the tournaments, Linder. I think I did, but I think of you as the Bill Nye of slingshots.
I don't think you did.
I love it. I love that kind of stuff.
Oh, wow. Okay.
It's time to bring your science logo back, Linder.
Bill Nye, the slingshot guy.
So
dude, I was singing that song the other day to my kids, and my kids are 10 and 12, and they didn't know what I was talking about. I felt so failed as a parent for them not knowing what Bill Nye was. I was like, oh, we got to watch Bill Nye right now.
So fun fact, and the thing that Coinworker, everybody calls you Coinworker. I don't, but in public I have to. The thing that he was referring to, he may be the only person in the world other than Dana that actually knows this, because we talked about it one time. Before Linder Sucks, which is my YouTube channel, it was actually called Slingshot Science. I was just like super ready to launch a YouTube channel called Slingshot Science. And then I just decided, like, that is so pretentious. Like, who do I think I am to be like, no, I'm the science guy? Like, come on, I'm just some dude,
I will say I appreciate the self-deprecating title. I found humor in that as well. So
thank you.
I think you hit a home run with that as well.
I get about half of the people that are like, yeah, that's funny. I get that. That's cool. And the other half are like, I think you're doing yourself a disservice. Come on, dude, it's a joke. Like, don't take it so seriously, man.
Zach, what were you going to say?
About what? I don't know.
I don't know. You were talking for a second. I thought that's
a good idea. Slingshot science. You know what I mean? Especially with how good you are like breaking stuff down, Linder, that would be a good idea. I bet that would catch on.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, it's
May
great.
switch it up against
Actually,
something.
I keep that in mind when I'm making. I don't have very many like tutorial type videos or educational videos, but I keep that in mind when I'm making one. I did one where I was tying bands, and I was like, every video I've ever watched of somebody tying bands, like it's out of focus or you can't really see what they're doing very well. The camera's too far away, the angle's bad, the lighting's bad. I was like, I don't want to make a video like that. You know, I want a clear and concise image of what I'm doing. So if somebody was able to watch that video, they would actually take something away from it. So yeah, I mean, I think about that when I'm doing any of those types of videos. I don't want just to be content out floating on the web, you know, for no reason. It just it speaks to me when I can find something. And like I said, I'm a very visual person, so if I can see what someone's doing and it's articulated well and how it's being done, I find value in that.
Yeah.
You know, and I hope that's what I've done. You know, some of the videos I've done, I've tried to make a very clear and concise shot of what I'm doing, and so people can understand what's going on.
Yeah. So two things, Luke. One, like you absolutely nailed it. That's what I'm trying to do too, right? Like everything I do on my channel is like, what are the things that I wish that I had been able to see when I was just starting out? Like, because I learned a ton from YouTube. There's a whole lot of really good content creators out there. I don't want to take anything away from them, but like you said, every video is like, but I wanted a little bit more from that, or I wanted something a little bit different from that. So my whole thing has been like, okay, I'm going to make the things that I wish I had been able to find back then.
Yeah,
But
and you might be able to make,
two,
you might be able to like include just one little like tidbit that someone else maybe missed or something like that.
exactly. Number two, though, and this is for you specifically, Luke. There have been a couple of times that I thought I got some time, I could go make a video, and then I've literally thought to myself, I don't know, man. Luke's out there doing it. He'll probably cover it. Like I really like your stuff. I feel like you and I are actually kind of in a very similar niche there. And there have definitely been times where I'm like, yeah, I don't need to do that. Luke will cover it, I'm sure.
Oh, I don't know. Sometimes I'll get an idea when I'm half asleep about a video that'd be really great, and then I go to start making it, and I'm like, this is never gonna work.
Yeah,
There's no way I can
as good as I
explain
thought
this.
it was going to be. Yep, I know exactly what you're talking about.
I just fight with the lazy bug. I've realized that I have a ton of video ideas in my mind, and I just don't want to. I would rather be shooting slingshots, and I think that's why I do mostly lives these days, is because I can do this because I want to be doing this and have it recorded, or I can be shooting a slingshot live and get that, and I don't have to worry about editing and figuring it all out. Yeah,
I have double that problem though, because I have a lot of ideas for what I want to make, and then I'm too lazy to actually do it. But I also have a person who lives in my house who is a very good slingshot shooter who also has a lot of ideas and no plans to ever be on YouTube. So she's like, you should make this video. Here's an idea for a video. So I have a list like this long that's like half my ideas and half hers. And I still haven't made them.
I'll start sending you some of my ideas too then.
Yeah, there you go. Great. I'll add them to the list.
I
Well, Dana, you're already-
I want to throw something out there to just pile on, Linder. I'm obviously not entirely objective, but one of the nice things about videos like the ones that you make are that I think like when you take somebody like me, somebody who doesn't look like your average sling shooter, there can be sort of a barrier to entry because it's just like I'm looking for a video. I want to see somebody who has tiny lady hands shooting because I kind of want to like get a sense of what it's like to shoot when you have my stature and my dimensions. And when you break it down into a more sciencey but also like fun, cute, googly eye way, I think that like breaks down a lot of the barriers to small people, to women, to people who just aren't like exposed to it from an early age because of the people that they grow up with or whatever. So I like that too. I think it opens a lot of doors.
Well, a lot
Dana,
of that
maybe
is your influence.
maybe you're the change that needs to happen for women. Maybe you need to get on YouTube and be the change you wish to see.
It's Gandhi.
I I've been told this before. I want to start a YouTube channel called Dana Rocks. It's, you know.
Which I fully support, by the way. I am like, yes, you should absolutely do that. I think that's amazing.
The yin and the yang. I like
Yeah,
that.
right.
Very cool. So you guys are talking about ideas for channels. I don't have the problem of a shortage of ideas. It's just a shortage of time. And lately, since I'm on the night shift until March, it's a shortage of daylight because by the time I wake up now, I have maybe an hour of daylight, and I need that to drink my coffee, or I'm not any good to anybody. So, yeah, that's one reason I'm enjoying these as well, because I don't have as much time to get out and shoot. So at least we get to talk about it and kind of get excited about the next tournament that's coming up and stuff. You guys were talking about Luke. I think you specifically were talking about your videos getting overly complicated and stuff. That's one problem I'm running into though, because of my interest in videography and editing and stuff now. The further I go down that rabbit hole, the more I have to try to remind myself to keep it simple and just do what I need to do and use the tools I need to use for what I'm doing at the time, instead of trying to set up 5 camera angles and make it too extravagant. But I think for a beginner, one of the most important things you can do is improve your audio, even before worrying about your video. Because if the camera's a little bit shaky and stuff, people will still watch it if they're interested in what you're doing. But if they can't hear you, they won't watch.
Yeah, that's a good
100%. Yeah.
It is true. Just getting out there and doing it. It's that do it thing. And I got to hand it to Zach. He's been prolific at being the guy that does it. And Zach, I got to ask, are you one of those guys that goes out there? Because you've got dozens and dozens and dozens, hundreds of shorts. Are you one of those guys that goes out there and just hits like 5 or 10 shorts in one day and then you start posting them out?
100%. I have 4 kids, so it's hard to find time to, you know what I mean, get out throughout the week every day and do it. So I'll find some of their toys or something laying around the house. I'm like, I'm going to shoot this. Like, guys, do you care if I shoot this? And they're like, no, Daddy, shoot it. I'm like, cool. So I'll put it in my pocket and I'll go accumulate 5 or 6 things to shoot. And then I'm like, I'm going to go to the park and I'm going to hopefully shoot all these things. And then, throughout, like, I'll edit them throughout the week and just put them out periodically.
In 20 years, you'll find those toys have gone way up in value and you destroyed them by shooting them with the.
No, they went up in value because Zachs Slingshots shot this toy.
Yeah, right.
Authenticated.
That's true.
That's
I blew
right.
up all my
signed and
Star Wars
authenticated.
toys.
You mentioned recording throughout the week. One problem I have when I do record something is sometimes I get excited and I want to get it edited and posted right then. And sometimes I've found that if I don't have the time to do that and I wait a day or two, I do a better job on the editing and stuff because I'm kind of taking my time with it more. I don't know. Any of you guys face that?
Yeah, you're not as anxious to get it out.
Yeah.
So you definitely can take your time on it more.
Yeah.
The thing I like about watching Zach's videos is that they seem to be in different places. You get like a variety of settings. That's something that, I'm cognizant about of my videos. It's like I'm shooting in the same place, standing in the same spot, in the same yard, at the same, range in my backyard. And I feel like that could get kind of boring. So I try to keep that in mind. I try to change it up a little bit. I did a thing in my kayak. I was out in the James River kayaking, shooting that stuff. And
I saw that.
And I was fishing at the same time, but I just figured I would bring my slingshots along. But anyway, yeah, I mean, that's something that I like, enjoy about Zach's videos. It seems like he's always at a different spot and gives a little bit more, breaks it up a little bit when you're watching a lot of the slingshot videos. I mean, they're all cool. They're all fun to watch. I mean, if you're into slingshots, you like watching people shoot stuff, but it's like, you got to try to think about, the audience and what they're seeing on a daily basis and trying to break it up for them.
Appreciate that.
Luke, more googly eyes. That will also help.
I also struggle, not just laziness. It is kind of what you were hinting at, Andrew. what's it called? Paralysis by overanalysis.
Yeah.
I tend to overthink something. I want to knowing how to use a camera, knowing how to make a good video, but I just don't want to do it because I know that other people are doing it and doing it much better than me. And I know Linder struggles with that too. There's somebody else out there that can do this way better than I can. Why am I even trying? So yeah, it's one of those things that keeps me from posting. But
I mean, I get that, like, and I definitely feel that way a bit myself, but I also, and this is kind of the way I am at tournaments too, I feel like I'm in competition with myself. And when I'm improving and I go back and I watch some of my older videos and stuff, I'm not really posting those to make money off of. Like I told you, I don't speak at this point with the amount of money that I've invested in cameras and stuff. Speaking of which, I just got this today. So we can do a chat on that, on the camera chat that we've been talking about. Oh, I thought I lost Michael.
That was a train. That was a train tooting, I think, nearby where I'm at.
What's that?
You might have heard the train. There was a train tooting its horn.
Oh, okay. No, but when I go back and I watch my older videos and I see where I've improved, whether it be, slingshot shooting or the editing aspect, then I call that a win. I feel happy when I see improvement in myself because this is just a hobby for me. I'm not gonna make a living at it,
Oh yeah, I like ATO. I know ATO's huge and he does a great job, but he when he talks about getting demonetized and stuff like that, lately he's had some issues with YouTube, and I'm like, that if I ever get to the point where I'm upset that I'm not making money off of slingshots, someone please just take me out. Like take me out of the game. I mean, that's not at all. That's not at all what I ever cared about. And I'm not saying I would ever get there to begin with, but I mean, it's just fun. It's just fun talking to you guys. It's fun sharing, what we're doing and ideas with other people and seeing other people's videos. It's just like a big round table, kind of like what we're doing here, but off camera.
Matt Cornelison made a video recently where he said a thing that really resonated with me. He said, it was a video of him doing his casting of aluminum slingshots because he makes all of the trophies for the ACC tournament himself. He casts them out of aluminum, and they're super cool. And we have one in the house, not because I want it, but because Dana won it. And like he made a video about casting one recently, and then he said, like, this one is going to be sent to a friend of mine. I'm not going to sell it because selling things saps all of the joy out of this for me. And I went, yeah, that's like when he said that, I was like, yes, that really resonates. To this day, I have sold exactly one thing of anything related to slingshots at all. And exactly, like he's waving because it was to Michael. And the only reason is that like I had made some braided magnets and I thought they were pretty cool, but the magnets themselves were expensive. And he was like, I want one. And I was like, yeah, but they're kind of, I don't just want to they're kind of expensive. And he was like, I'll pay you. It's like, all right, fine. So I made one for him and he paid me for it. And that's the only time I've sold anything. Because selling things just kind of saps the joy a little bit. And I know that's not the same for everybody. And there are people that sell things and good for them. I hope that they, do well doing that. But for me, it's just not part of the joy of it.
I absolutely agree. I buy things off of people that sell.
All the time,
I try to support the community that way. But to me, this is a joyful hobby, and monies. When you start turning it into a thing to make money off of, it to me it changes. It loses the joy.
Oh yeah, and don't get me wrong. I mean, there's people that they make their living at this. I mean, there's people that are really they're craftsmen, they're artists, and I enjoy supporting them in that endeavor. But for me, I'm never going to be someone who considers myself an artist at this. I just enjoy doing it. It's just it's a hobby for me, and that's all I was getting at. I was talking about just the the art of YouTubing and just sharing content and sharing videos. It's just
Yeah.
all in good fun. You know, there's people that sell things and are legitimate craftsmen and artists that make beautiful pieces of art that are practical, you know, that we can use as slingshots or magnet lanyards or targets. You know, all those things are, you know, those are practical pieces of equipment that people use in this hobby. And I'm more than happy to pay those people for their time and effort for those. But for me to come out in the backyard, have fun shooting, and then to post it up on the internet, that's, you know, that's really nothing out of my pocket. And it's just fun. It's just fun to do. It's just fun to share.
Yeah.
I'll say this for what it's worth. Maybe I will start selling things when I feel like I have given more to the community than the community has given me, but I am not there yet. And I may never get there, right? Like because the community is just so good at, and some of it is physical gifting of things, some of it is just giving of knowledge or whatever it is. Like, I just feel like I have gotten way more from this community than I've given to it. And until I feel like I've given back as much as I've gotten, I wouldn't feel right trying to make money off of it.
I know
I can agree with that. That's this one thing about the community that is amazing. Some of my one of my first customs, like real customs, came from Ethan, Tennessee slanging, and he told me I'm not allowed to tell anybody what he charged me for it, you know, and so I can't. But it's one of those things where I was looking for something. He's like, "Hey, I actually have that, and I have exactly what you're looking for. You know, give me a call." So we chatted about it, and sure enough, he sent it out to me, and it is the community is amazing. Ethan is just one of those people. He's a giver. He hooked me up at ECST too because he knew I was looking for a certain sling, and he was like, "Hey, have this," and that was an Axiom X, man. By no means is that just a cheap sling. And he was like,
No.
"I know you wanted this. Here you go." And I'm like, "Are you? Wait, what?" You know. I feel like I am definitely more of a taker than a giver. I gotta give out. I mean, I handed out duckies once at a slingshot tournament. I don't know if that
Dude, that was fun.
makes
That
up
was
for
awesome, though. That was awesome.
right,
Everybody was super happy when you did that.
Dude, I shoot those duckies in my videos all the time.
The
right.
memory of those duckies will last a lifetime, multiple
Well,
lifetimes. And
Um,
it inspired me to come up with a fun game at a fun tournament that turned into a fun event at a fun tournament that everybody actually hated and they got mad at me about. But
I really liked Dana's Duckies.
but I loved it.
I enjoyed Dana's Duckies because I did well at those. And at first, I didn't know that you were responsible for them until later that night when we were all talking. But no, I was a fan of the duck knockdowns.
I like the idea of the duckies until I went to shoot the duckies, and I was like,
Yep.
right behind the head.
They were hard. Yeah, right in between the head, just over the back, right behind
Yeah.
I had so many that were right over.
like water off a duck's back, man.
Yep, exactly.
It drove me up the wall.
Man, I want to go back to Ethan for just a second, because you're right. Like, Ethan's a giver, and so I think I don't suck at speed shooting. I think I'm okay at it. I got some videos about it. I had never done any speed shooting until ACC this year. The first time I did speed shooting seriously was in April of this year. And Ethan did a lot of teaching me that weekend about how to do it. And then just like gifted me just like a Don Kong style like speed shooter. And he was like, "Here, just take it. Like, it's yours now." And like that sort of thing isn't unusual in the community. In fact, that's the awesome part about it, is that people do it all the time. But yeah, like knowing damn well that I was going to use it to get better than him at it and come at him and, try to beat him next year, he was like, "Yeah, take it." Like, Ethan's awesome.
Yeah, I think everybody has their love language. We've got, Scott the Happy Hippie throws Hocking Hills, and Matt, you were talking about, like, the host of tournaments. I mean, whatever it is, making videos, yeah, being a part of it in the background, I know people are working hard, doing some other stuff, and it is amazing the love language that you see towards this sport in all sorts of facets. It's pretty cool. It's amazing. Again, can't say enough about this community.
Absolutely. And that's why I wanted to do my channel and this roundtable too. Just because I don't have a whole lot of I don't build frames, there's not a lot of ways to give back, but it's some small way that I can, and maybe expose people that aren't aware of the community, particularly the tournament community. I really think that there's a special bond amongst the people that travel across the country to see each other, and so that's why I kind of wanted to give back in that way and bring other people, some exposure to it that may not have been exposed otherwise. So I felt like that was one thing I could do. But yeah, I wish I had the skill to build frames or something, but I don't even venture into those areas.
I will say, Andrew, as far as your like videoing tournaments and stuff, and giving people a sort of visual representation of what they're like, I'm really glad somebody's doing it, because when I'm at a tournament and I'm trying to shoot, like, I'm paying attention to talking to people and being with friends, but also trying to focus on shooting, and like trying to take video in that situation is just so low on my priority list that I don't even think about it. I rarely even take pictures.
Yeah.
But there is a lot of value in showing what those things are like to people who may be interested in doing one. And I'm really glad that you're actually out there with cameras taking video and doing stuff. Like, Tim did the
Well, I
same thing. He's
appreciate
he's already off the call, but I would call out Tim too as somebody that
Yeah.
actually takes video at tournaments and posts it online. Like, I think there's
Yeah,
a lot of value in that.
I enjoy Tim's drone videos and his other videos. That drone video he took at Hocking Hills was really neat.
That was so cool.
Yeah, it was cool.
But
I do want to point out
yeah.
Tristan and Tim did mention that they ran out of internet bandwidth there. That's why they dropped out of the call. They were struggling.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
Oh, and here I thought that you just hated our guts.
Yeah, I was pretty sure it was something you said, Luke, but I didn't want to.
Hey, speaking of tournament pictures, I never got or saw a really good picture of that group photo from the East Coast tournament, because there was probably 5 or 6 people taking that picture, and I found like one blurry picture online from somebody. I don't know who has a good picture of that group photo, but I'd love to see it sometime.
Well,
I don't know if I do either.
You mentioned a group photo, and no, that was one of the things. Even at the Hocking Hills tournament, I thought maybe I made the video a little too long, but there was so much I wanted to get in there. Particularly, one thing I enjoy rewatching myself is the group photo segment. I set up and I have the entire group photo experience on there, which, if you've all been part of those before, there's so much more conversation and jokes and dialogue going on than just what's in the picture. And I kind of want to be putting together almost like a family photo album of people that are there now, because I hear about the old timers like Blue Skeen and different people that I didn't have the opportunity to meet. And I would just kind of at least like to document that, who's there at this point in history, because we are maybe not in skill, but we are the generation of today, the Blue Skeens and the other people that people 20 years from now may be talking about. So I think it's kind of neat to get a visual representation of that.
Very true. That was a great part of the video, but the best part of the video was when I won the Deep Woods course.
I was just about to say, Blue Ski never won the 2024 Hocking Hills Woods course, did he?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
No, but Coinworker did, and I got it on video for future generations.
What was I just saying before this video started in our chat about wanting to get a word in around your big head? I knew it. I knew you were going to say that.
Do you have
and you know what my response is, right? You know what my response was going to be.
Well, I can't remember if we were recording because we had quite a bit of a conversation beforehand, but you also mentioned how you and Dana placed at HHST, and you guys tied well ahead of me, by
I
the
was
way,
just
in the
gonna say,
overall.
because you every
Well,
time you bring up how much how well you did on the deep woods course, I'm gonna say this every single time. Coinworker, you get to gloat when you beat me at a tournament, which has yet to happen.
yeah,
So
yeah. I'm playing the slow game on that. I'm just trying to give you this confidence. So when I stomp you, you'll
yeah,
you'll you'll feel it to your core.
can't
Hey
wait.
Dana, can you take your mic off mute for a second?
Yeah.
Can we get that special effect again? Because I don't think that was caught.
It doesn't make sound. It just there's like a lot of them that you can do.
Ah, that's cool.
I spend a lot of time on Zoom calls. And
I
Yeah.
do too,
I
which is
also
why
have
I turned all that off.
ADHD. So I spend a lot of time
I
on Zoom calls playing with these fun reaction animations.
Yeah, I get a lot of time on Zoom at work as well, and so I've experimented some, but I hadn't found that button yet. All right, well, we've got about an hour's worth, I think, of content, and I don't necessarily have to turn it off right now. But you guys have any more issues or things you want? Oh, you know what? Actually, there was. I had a viewer question thing up on YouTube last week. And somebody posted a question right after we recorded, so I wanted to go back and get to that question.
While you're looking for that question, I think the French toast question was excellent. And I was very mad there wasn't a good answer. So I'll just throw out there French vanilla extract is very important in a French toast recipe.
What was the question?
How do you make French toast? What's the best recipe for French toast? And nobody could give any good answers. So that's my secret ingredient. And of course, a little bit of cinnamon. And that's also a secret ingredient in things like barbecue sauce and any like smoked recipes. But anyway, anybody else have an answer to that? I'm curious.
I felt like Trent had a pretty good answer. Nutmeg, yeah.
Oh no, Trent did. You're right. He had a special
nutmeg.
bread to use.
Yeah, zucchini.
Texas toast, obviously.
Oh yeah.
Texas people, of course, you would say that.
Yeah. You know, brioche if you want to be fancy.
That sounds very French.
It's just like a super duper eggy bread. So that you've got like a super eggy bread that you dip in egg and tons of sugar. It's the way.
Sounds good. There is so there was actually one question that got posted last week after we answered, and then I have another question from Sling Nerd. So we have two for this week. The first one we'll go with this one because I haven't pulled up from Sling Nerd. First question: why is it called a round table when no one is at a table? Is anybody at a table?
I'm at a desk.
My computer's on my coffee table right now in front of me.
I'm at a rectangular table.
All right, there's tablage involved. So,
what a nerd!
It was advertised to me as a. It was advertised to me as a fireside chat, so I'm at the fireside.
Paul's wild.
Yeah, Paul's just a nerd. Don't worry about that question.
He follows that up with a serious one. It says, "Okay, serious one now. In your will, what have you said should happen to your slingshot collection?" I don't have a will, being as young and energetic as I am. But.
So I don't have one either, but I'll answer this by anecdote. Earlier this year, there was a planned tournament in Arizona, the Southwest Slingshot Tournament, and Dana and I were going to go. A month, maybe 2 months before the tournament, the organizer, James Gonzalez, passed away. And so the tournament didn't happen. Mikey Paul Reddick, who runs Omega Slings, I guess I don't know the details, but he also lives in Arizona, and he somehow I guess inherited his collection, and in one of my orders from Omega Slings came something that I didn't recognize. It wasn't something I ordered. It was a natty. And I pinged Mikey and I was like, "Hey, what is this thing?" And Mikey just said that was part of James's collection. Uh, and
That's
I
really
can't
cool.
I can't think of a better way like to do that. So what do I hope happens to my collection? I hope it gets pieced out, one piece at a time to as many people in the community as we can get. That's what I would
That is
hope.
a great answer.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know a lot of
Yeah.
people got those like the Choya natties.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of people got them.
Yeah, I'm
that
sure
was
he had
really
a
cool. I
bunch
got
of
I
them.
got one of those as well, but I'm not as selfless. I want to be buried with my entire slingshot collection. No, my wife has actually yelled at me. Some of you may know I have other hobbies. As you can see, I have the old CRT behind me. I collect Nintendo and Atari 2600 games, and just old retro video game stuff. I'm a magician, so I have a large collection of cards and coins and just magic tricks and books that go with that and videos. Yeah,
Optics.
right. And I've got cameras, a lot of cameras, old film cameras I collect and it just, a lot of hobbies that amassed stuff. And my wife's like, "I know this means a lot to you. What would I do?" And I was like, "Just let people in the community know, and they'll reach out and collect it and get it, and it'll be okay." But if any one of you ends up with one of mine, I should have been buried with it, you horrible person. No, I'm kidding.
I'm gonna get one of them, and I'm gonna post on in all the Facebook groups. Hey, look at my new target I just got, and I'm just gonna shoot the hell out of it.
Oh,
It's like it's his purple gasser.
yeah.
Exactly.
Just tear that up, please.
I'm not like I feel like I have a lot of slingshots, but when I see other people's collections, I don't have nearly as many. So yeah, I don't think I'm like you though, Michael. I have other interests and hobbies as well. So yeah, after I'm gone, I guess do what you want with it. I won't be using it anymore.
Yeah, I don't. I've said this before. I don't consider myself a collector. I don't think I have a big slingshot collection. I mean, if I've got a frame that I haven't used in a couple months and I don't foresee myself using in the next couple months, I will freely give it to somebody that I think may enjoy it or may somebody that I think I can get into the hobby. I mean, I've given many of my slingshots away to coworkers or friends or so. Yeah, I mean, I think I probably have more slingshots than my wife would like me to have, or my wife would probably not agree that I'm not a slingshot collector, but I'm really not. I mean, I've seen people's collections that are just so vast and just crazy. But yeah, I mean, I'm a very practical person. If I'm not going to use it practically, I don't want it collecting dust. I'm just not a collector of things. That's just the way I am, my personality. I'd rather somebody else get some enjoyment out of it.
Yeah,
I like that.
Yeah, I do too.
Yeah, I feel like Linder doesn't have that hindrance of his wife being upset with the collection. I have a feeling she might be kind of into it herself.
I've been trying to get people to bring their wives to tournaments so I can teach them the way. And then everyone can collect slingshots together.
Yeah,
So,
every time I hear somebody say something like I have more slingshots than my wife would like or whatever, I'm just like, yeah, that must suck. I don't know how it feels. So I
He
feel
does
for you,
literally
man.
have like an entire drawer under the bed, like an entire rolling drawer under the bed full of slingshots.
I got a pretty funny story. I've just been shooting for a year now or so, and back in the spring, I was just like really hot and heavy with ordering slingshots. I was just had the fever really bad, and I was getting like a slingshot in the mail like every week at least. And I have a Ring camera, on my front door where the mailbox is, and my wife was like, "What is this package? Is another package for you?" And I was at work one day and I saw the Ring camera go off. It was my wife coming home with the kids, and she was checking the mailbox, and she pulled a pack. I saw her on camera, and I saved the video, but I saw her pull a package out of the mailbox. Look at my kids. My kids look at her, and they're like, "What is it?" And she just rolls her eyes. And then my kids are like, "Oh, it's dad," and it was just so it was just so funny because she didn't even have to say anything. She just rolled her eyes, and I was like, "Okay, I think it's becoming a problem." And it was just so funny. But to be honest with you, she's never like had any issue with me just enjoying a very safe hobby. I say safe, but very it's been a good thing in my life. Just I'm reaching that age where like I'm almost at midlife crisis point. I'm 35, and so I'm getting to a point where I'm like, well, what am I doing? And my career's doing well. I also just needed something to get my mind off of things and just constantly being so overwhelmed with work. And the slingshot thing has really done that for me. It's really given me a whole community to connect to, and I think she sees that. She sees the value in that. So she lives with getting the slingshots in the mail every now and then. So she's been a supporter.
So
plus, if you get in slingshots on midlife crisis, that's a hell of a lot cheaper than a Corvette, man.
I always tell my wife, be happy I'm not into cars. That's
So Luke, this is not a wife story, it's a coworker story, but something sort of similar. I was at a happy hour with coworkers the other day, and somebody just sort of asked an icebreaker question because we had just gotten there, and the icebreaker question was like, if you pass away, like if you're dead and somebody's holding a seance, and they need an item that will bring your like soul like back to the table, like what would that item be? Like, so they were asking people just like, what is the one item that is like closest to you? And I didn't even answer the question. I was just like, y'all already know what the answer is. And they were like, oh, a slingshot. And I was like, yeah, of course it is.
a Squidward, right?
Oh no, man, I have not shot my squid in quite some time.
Oh, really? All right.
Would you like to see what I'm shooting instead?
Yes.
I actually posted this in USA Slingshot Shooters yesterday for the first time. This is my first design and build.
Yes, I saw that. That's so awesome.
I call it the Xenia. It's mine. I designed it. I 3D printed one, and I made a template out of it. That clip has a G10 liner there. This is it. This is my new go-to. And I've got a wave attachment version for speed shooting. And I have this here because I wanted to show it off. It's in progress, so it looks like crap, but I like heavy frames. I've been shooting that Night Parrot from Precise. I have a stainless steel core glued up version of my Xenia. I just glued the pins in. I haven't even trimmed them down yet. But wow. This is gonna be my heavy frame right here. So
that's awesome.
No, I'm not 90. Well, so the steel core is actually about 91 and a half. And then when I just make it out of wood and I sand it, it comes out to about 90. So because I made a steel core with the 91 and a half from the 3D model, it's going to stay 91 and a half. But 90 to 92 roughly.
I'll take 2, Linder.
You might be on a list for people to give things to, but we'll see.
I thought you were going to be like, nope, not doing that for anybody. They're just me.
That's the thing. It's like I want to make a bunch of them because I want to get good at building, but then I'm like, what am I going to do with these? Like, I'm going to give a bunch away, but then what am I going to do with them? Like, I don't know. Maybe I'll sell them. Maybe I won't. We'll see.
Your girl might not be shooting Alabama with an LT Pro.
She's got her own Xenia, clip Xenia that I made for her, so she's been shooting that lately. Yeah.
Nice. Yeah, I like that frame. You mentioned Precise frames. I've been looking at those lately. I don't own any of those, and They have some really nice looking ones on their website, but never shot one. I do have. Oh, go ahead.
Well, I was just gonna say I shot all of Hocking Hills with the one they call the Night Parrot, and I did that because they have come up with a clip system that is like actually a clip. Like there's no tools. You don't screw it and unscrew it. You just kind of flick it down, put your band in, flick it up, and you're done. And it's so simple and so easy. I absolutely love it.
Yeah, we give some people a hard time about clamp versus clip. Some people, if you follow online or some of the lives, there's some of those arguments. And I mean, what you were seeing with what Linder was making, those clips literally pressed together. So as Jordan, who likes to usually argue about how we use our words, he says that's a clamp, right? And he's not wrong. We're clamping the bands onto our frames. But we've technically called those clips for a very long time. And I posted at some point the argument that the only real clip out there is a night parrot. That
that is exactly the reference I was making without saying it. But yes, that's right.
Yeah, I think when at the East Coast tournament this year, I think Joseph Garcia, he had one of those and was letting me check it out, and that was really cool. The way it just kind of, it just like you hear an audible click, and it just it's secure. It feels good, and it's heavy. It's awesome.
And Zach's going to prove me wrong. The Night Parrot isn't the only one with that system.
Yeah, the elephant.
He's got it right there.
My elephant. I've had this thing for like 4 years probably, but that was like the only reason. Sniper sling. That was like why I got it was you just pop it down and it just comes out.
Yeah.
Slip it back in.
Yeah, that system is amazing. I love it. I actually talked to Nathan Masters at Hocking Hills about it, and he was like, "Yeah, I don't think we could release that for an American audience. Like, there'd be liability issues or whatever." And I don't want to put words in his mouth. I don't remember exactly what he said, but basically, he was like, "Yeah, no, we're never going to do that." And like that's unfortunate because that's really awesome.
It's about as convenient as it gets.
Yeah.
That's the quickest system I've ever seen.
Yeah.
So Nathan had. Speaking of Nathan, he had, and I don't know if this is something they're going to produce or if he just had one for himself, but he had a frame at Hocking Hill that had, I think it was an Axiom, but it had push clips. They had some kind of spring-loaded clips that he could just push on one side. And the clips
I
would come
did
out.
Not see that, but that would be really cool.
I don't know if they're planning on making it. I'm sure he has little neat things that he gets to play with that the rest of us don't see, but that would be cool if that's something they produced.
Let's talk about the clips and clamps, and as convenient as they are, I still think there's something to be said about the primitiveness of wrapping a slingshot. Lately it's grown on me. I mean, when I first started, it was convenient to just clamp it in there, with the simple slingshots I started with, and it was nice and convenient. But now that I've had many frames and have, banded up many frames, there's something about wrapping a slingshot. It makes me feel like, I don't know, like the way a caveman would do it or something. I don't know. It's just primitive and it feels like old school or something.
I know what you mean, and I think Michael Coin will understand this. And it's kind of like using autofocus versus manual on a camera. I mean, you don't want everything done for you. You want to do some of it yourself.
Yeah, I actually probably would say it's more like using analog or a film instead of the digital camera. Doing it old school. To me, the wrap is the old school way of doing it. But yeah, there is something that makes it feel more yours when you wrap it in a way. But the clips are just so damn convenient.
I hate to be a contrarian, which is only a mild like, so I kind of love it. But
I'm not sure you do.
You absolutely do not need that.
There is just something fundamentally weird to me about somebody saying, like, "Oh, I like wrapping it because it feels old school and like a caveman can do it," while I'm wrapping onto this high-tech thermoplastic and pulling back this like super high-tech rubber that didn't exist 6 months ago. And it's like, So what? Like, I'm sorry, but what? Like, that's the one bit that you're like, oh, I want to do this old school, but everything else is like super high tech and like, I don't know. I don't.
I want my cake and eat it too.
Right. Just
Yeah,
let us have
right.
this, dude.
Sure.
Just
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fair
come
enough.
on.
But I mean, this is like one of like three of Slingshot's holy wars. Like that's there will always be people with differing opinions. So cool.
Well, so I got one right here for you guys. I got a question from Lone Wolf Caddy Plinker. This is the one he posted right after we recorded our last episode. Short draw or long draw, and why?
It's whatever works for you is the answer.
Yeah,
Like,
it's all preference.
Yeah, and I said that like Rap and Tuck versus Flips was one of three Slingshot's holy wars. The other two are short draw versus long draw and OTF versus TTF or OTT versus TTF. Like, yeah, you're asking us a literal like holy war question. I don't know the answer, man. Just do
Well,
whatever works for you.
I've only shot short draw, so I can't speak to it entirely. But I've asked the same question before, and one of the best answers I got to this was recently by Gene Kirkland. He posted a thing online, an answer to this online, and he said, "So I was looking for practical answers, right? Not just more power or whatever. A practical answer was that you have in a long draw, you have 3 points of reference. You have the site of the frame. You have where the band might be touching your face, and you also have your finger back on it beyond your face, back here, like back behind your face. So that's 3 points of reference to kind of line up that shot, as opposed to short draw where you have only 2 points of reference. Really, you have your anchor at your face, and you have the side of your frame. And I thought that was probably one of the most practical answers that anybody's ever given to that question, because I never thought of it that way. I mean, you've got 3 references. You've got the band touching your face, you've got your hand, and you got the frame in a long draw scenario. And I thought that made a lot of sense. I've never shot long draw, so I couldn't tell you, but that's the kind of answer I was looking for when I was asking that question. And I thought that was a really good answer. I haven't tried it yet.
It's funny that you say that, because Gene actually, same dude, Gene, gave a different answer in a different on a different post, and I thought that was the one that you were going to reference. I actually really liked the different answer, which I'll get to in a second. I hated that answer. I read exactly the one you're talking about, and I hated it. And the reason I hated it is that what he actually said was, I have 3 points of reference: the tip, the band on my face, and my anchor. And I went, what the hell is your anchor? There's nothing back there. There's nothing back there for you to anchor to. You could be up here, you could be down there, you could be over here or inside or whatever. Like, there's literally not a point of reference back there if you're doing long draw. You do only have 2 points of reference. The other one is just floating in space. I thought that answer made absolutely no sense whatsoever. But in a different question on a different day, the same guy, Gene Kirkland, said, I can get the same performance with basically less draw weight, with lighter setups. Because a lot of us slingshot shooters are not young people anymore. A lot of them are, but a lot of us are not. And as you age, it's just, yeah, sure. Could I pull a really hard pull to a short draw and get a hunting speeds once, twice, 10 times, maybe 20 in a row? Absolutely, I could. Do I want to shoot 200 to 300 at a time? Yes, I do. So if I want to get those same speeds, but I want to be able to do it 200 or 300 times, I need a lot lighter setup, because I just don't have the musculature that I had 20 years ago. That's not exactly his words, but that's basically what he said. That was an answer that I liked. Go ahead, Andrew.
No, I just said neither does Mike Tyson have the strength he had.
Yeah, right. Yeah, exactly. And it was the same guy giving both answers, and I hated one of them and I loved the other one, and that's yeah.
Gene's a great guy. I got some awesome. He's the first one to send me some pickle fork stuff, and he sent me a plethora of stuff when he was like, "Yeah, I'm gonna. You want to buy this little plywood one I have, you can learn with. And then he sent me a whole thing, and that was amazing. He was probably the first person in the community that showed me what this community was about.
Yeah, he does that.
Yeah, but I would say I want to counter the idea of having more anchor points. I'm going to kind of agree with Linder here that that anchor point floating out there is not an anchor point. Sure, it's muscle memory, but I do think when you tilt your head down and touch your cheek, that's your point of anchor reference. That it has nothing to do
Sure.
with
Okay,
this.
I got
It's
you.
always
Yeah.
going to be where you're putting it. But my answer to any newbie when talking about that and even considering those facts, I'm going to say keep it simple, stupid. Start with KISS. Keep it simple. You're going to, and for me, short draw is the simple solution. It's the easier, more recognizable anchor points. More, you're working on that pinch release anyway. You're going to have more of a devastating result in long draw if you can't get your release correct than you do short draw with a bad release. So I would start short draw every time is what I would teach anyone. But that's just like, again, this is a holy war. And when I convinced one person that I know to go long draw, I got a kind of a nasty text later saying that it was my fault. He thought maybe he was going to have some problems with his elbows. So
I've had 3 cortisone shots in the last year from trying long draw. Yes, that person was me. I've had 3 cortisone shots for tennis elbow in the last year because it still hurts. And that was after 1 week of trying long draw, just like exclusively. So,
Dang.
yeah.
I'll still recommend long draw to anybody, but I highly recommend if you're just starting off, start short draw before you go to long draw, and then work your way back. That's how I did it. I, started here, found here, and quite frankly, when I'm shooting, I am shooting. What do we call it? 3/4. It's just behind my ear. I'm not full butter. Like people, when they see full butter or long draw, that's what they're thinking people are doing all the time. And I don't think that's how most of us shoot. I mean, there are a few guys that shoot wide wingspan every time, but
FAB. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. So going back to something that we talked about earlier about just like having ideas for YouTube videos that you haven't made yet. One of the ideas that I have, like I've got the whole like script written out and I just need to go film it is, and this was actually one of Dana's ideas, is just how to teach your friends how to shoot a slingshot, right? Like I want to just make a video that's like, here are some tips for getting other people in. And one of them is almost exact. One of those 7 tips is almost exactly what you said, Michael. It's just like, keep it simple, focus on the basics. Like, we're talking sight reference, anchor point, elbow, and pinch, and just that's it, no more. Because when you're talking about new people getting into it, it's just a lot easier to like get them comfortable with the basics of what it's like without introducing, essentially long draw. Like I agree with that completely.
Given that this is a fireside chat, it's possible that the person asking the question wasn't asking you to weigh in on the battle of long draw versus short draw, but just to go around the room and say which one you prefer and why.
She's probably right.
Once again,
We overthought it.
once
Well,
again,
let's
us
do that.
men have overanalyzed everything.
Well, let's do that.
Linder just likes arguing.
I
That's
mean-
his fault. It's his fault.
Have you met me?
I can start.
Yeah, go ahead.
It's not a great answer though. It's like short draw because I'm scared. I'm scared, and also like I personally don't have a really good sense of my own body in space anyway. I like walk into walls and trip over things. So like I'm never ever going to be able to consistently hold my hand back here and hit a target. It's just never going to happen. So for somebody like me who has limited control over my actual physical body, short draw where I can just lock it in.
Cool. I started
Great
on
answer.
short draw. I started on short draw. I'll go next, I guess. I started on short draw just because it was easiest for me. One problem I ran into is my glasses. My glasses are, a little bit larger. So that was a problem for me on short draw. And talking about the extra anchor points, I could see where your cheek would be an anchor point on long draw if you didn't have that problem, but I have to shoot out a little ways from my ear. And so I have to adjust my anchor point for that because of my glasses. So I shoot, like Quinn said, not full butterfly, but 3/4 or whatever, but I have to go out a little ways from my head.
Zach, why don't
you're
you
up.
answer it? Yeah, exactly. Good call.
I shoot short because I've dabbled in long draw, but I feel like starting out, like we said, everything, it's easier. Short draws, obviously the way to go, learning. And then I got to the point where I was happy with my shooting, where could hit pretty tiny things pretty consistently, and didn't really want to feel like I was starting over, learning how to shoot again, shooting long draw. So I was like, dude, I'm sticking short. And like the repeatability of it is so much simpler. Just put my thumb, same spot every time. There's no variation, less variables, short draw. But yeah, I still dabble with long draw every once in a while, but if I'm trying to actually hit something consistently, I'm shooting short.
Cool.
Yeah, I feel the same way. Consistency is everything, right? So if it's not broke, why fix it? I don't know. I've never really ever considered using long draw.
And you lose less latex too.
Yeah, that is one thing.
Yeah, I'm really jealous of the people that can cut length or cut their rolls up and down.
Across,
yeah, that's that. I'm so jealous of that. I get so many odd little rolls of and
So
I
Michael,
obviously shoot long draw, and I did start off short draw. I shot short draw a little bit different. I used my middle finger and thumb to pinch the pouch because I could load with the ball and then pinch and then get my finger out and kind of point at the target. But I also found if I used my middle finger when pulling back right into the corner of my mouth, that was my consistent anchor point.
Interesting.
And it worked pretty good for me. It was just always there, and I liked that. It was a decent pinch, and I could hook it in there. It felt like a good spot. So and I became pretty proficient at it. I know I've said this in other lives and other chats where I got to a point, and my joke is where I couldn't miss anything, so I needed a new challenge. But that's not true. And I took up the long draw. And Zach, to your point of why start all over again, I screwed up my short draw too. Like I was a pretty proficient short draw person, and when I went to try to learn long draw, it was something about the way I pinched or something. It just made me not be able to do short draw anymore either. So I had to stick with it, and I would say it was a good 2-3 months before I felt like I was actually anywhere near as good as I was when I was short draw. But it took a while. Now I obviously prefer long draw, especially like the woods course, shooting multiple distances. Long draw seems to have a flatter trajectory further, in my opinion. So that helps me stay consistent with my aiming and my technique. So that's one of the big benefits, in my opinion, with long draw is distance and flat trajectory.
100%. So I guess I'm the last person because I haven't answered this yet, and I'm a little bit upset that I have to answer this because I was not planning on revealing this until Alabama in April. But everybody knows me as a short draw shooter, face anchor, traditional style, and I have not done that since Hawking Hills. I would not call what I am doing long draw exactly, but it is definitely not traditional face anchor short draw either. When I think of long draw, when I think of what gave me tennis elbow, I think of like sort of, turning your thumb down and pushing out, sort of out behind you. Um, and what I have been doing is my same basic pinch that I had when I was shooting with the face anchor, but I bring my hand behind my hand, behind my head, and don't have an anchor. So it's sort of like this. That's how I've been shooting for the last several months, and I'm feeling pretty good about it. So I think I'm going to stick with that. I don't know if that's long draw or not, but it's not a traditional face anchor either. That's where I am.
I
I think anything
100% did
past
not
3
know
years.
that. I did
Well-
not know that.
Yeah, even my own wife didn't know that. Again, I've been like holding this like close to the vest, just waiting to sort of reveal this at ACC and have everybody go, "Holy shit, I'm sorry, holy crap, Linder, like you don't do that." Like, yeah, well, I guess I do now.
Has he been shooting in the cover of night, Dana? What's going on? How have you not seen this?
He does actually sometimes shoot in the cover of night, but no, I mean I have to go into an office 2 to 3 days a week, and he must be sneaking it out while I'm, at an office.
Let's not forget also that, like, yeah, often we don't shoot at the same time because I'll shoot when
That's
she's not home, and then when she comes home, I'm like cooking dinner or something, and she's out shooting. But like, also, she's left-handed. She's left-hand hold, like, or sorry, right-hand hold. I'm right-handed. I'm left-hand hold. When we shoot together,
That's
we're back
right.
to back.
We
We're
are
not
back to
looking
back.
at each other, right? Like we're back to back shooting
Yeah.
into the same catch box. So like, she didn't even see it.
Yeah, that's true. It's been a little too long since we've gone and cut cans out in the backyard together, though. We're gonna have to fix that really soon.
Yeah, let's do it tomorrow.
Couples that cut cans together stay together.
That's right.
Yeah, absolutely. Hey, so speaking of you two and shooting together, I have a question for you guys and for Zach, because this is all three of your first time on here. And I want to know how you got into slingshot. What got you first interested in it? So Michael, go ahead and start.
I assume you're talking to me. Nobody calls me Michael,
Yeah.
but man, I have probably one of the top three most common and boring answers, which is that I watched the show alone, and I watched Zach Fowler bring a slingshot onto the show, and I thought, I wouldn't call myself like a prepper or anything like that, but I have a few months supply of food and water in the cupboard and a go bag and like I got some plans if things happen. And I was like, that sounds like a great apocalypse like survival tool. I could probably catch some game with that. So I picked one up and shot it in the backyard, and within a couple of days I was like, okay, yeah, that was a cool plan, but this is also just stupid fun and I'm going to keep doing it. And that's how I got into it.
That's actually a cool answer. I don't. Most people are like, yeah, I just found one my grandpa had or something.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah.
Linder, I have to ask, in your go bag, is there like a roll of Theragold or Theraband Gold?
Theraband Gold. No, but I think there's some old Precise that I've had for a while in there.
So Dana, did you tell us your story? Were you shooting before you got with Mr. Linder?
No. So one of my favorite activities used to be taking a pellet gun and shooting cans in the backyard, which is technically illegal in the city, but we would do it anyway because nobody's gonna.
You're a rebel.
That's how you roll.
So take a propensity for just shooting at things, like enjoying plinking things anyway. A mild amount of prepper and a great love of zombie movies and television shows. And occasionally some of the good ones have people who killed zombies with slingshots. So all of those things just running in the background. And then one day my husband comes home and he's like, check out what I have. And I'm like, here we go. And it turns out that like it's probably not illegal. Not 100% certain about this because the law is kind of vague in Texas, but it's probably not illegal to shoot slingshots in your backyard. And the barrier to entry is stupid low. Like his first catch box was a trash can, which I'm sure somebody on YouTube taught him.
Second one was a trash can. The first one was an
Amazon. Oh, it was a cardboard box. That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. Yeah.
With towels just shoved in it. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, like, it's not quite as cheap as a pellet gun and a stump and some cans, right? But it's pretty close. And the backyard where I was shooting pellet guns was much larger than our backyard now. It's like it is just the perfect thing given the catch box setup that we have for a relatively small urban backyard.
Well, I found that it suits the desire for marksmanship basically in any environment. I mean, that's a really cool thing about it. But so Zach, I think you're the only one that has an answer.
Yeah, so it was probably 4 or 5 years ago. My second oldest kid was always outside making his own like bow and arrows out of sticks and random things. So one day I was like, dude, I'm gonna buy you a slingshot, and bought him some Amazon, you know what I mean, tube mess, and then was like, dude, I'm gonna buy myself one so I can shoot with you. And then, now 4 or 5 years later, he doesn't touch slingshots, and I have about 50. So, that's what happened to me.
Yeah, you know, that story is more common than I've heard that one a bit. Like people think their kids will be interested in it, and it turns out to be a passion of theirs. That's really cool. Well, I am going to have to wrap this up soon because I have got a few other things to tend to tonight. But does anybody have anything else they want to add or say before we wrap it up?
It's been a lot of fun. Thank you for doing this.
It has been a lot of fun for me. This is partly selfish for me doing those because I miss the conversations in between tournaments and stuff. So I get that fixed. But no, I really enjoyed it. I'll tell you guys that have not been on one of these before. The only editing I do is sometimes I'll take the gaps out that are caused by Zoom just to kind of clean it up a little bit. But other than that, I post the whole conversation unless there's anything that you ever put in there accidentally that you're like, oh, I wish I hadn't said that. We can edit it out. But other than that, I just post them. And so I have enjoyed it. You're all welcome back anytime I do one of these. Dana, you're welcome to join that group. I didn't know exactly how to find you, but I guess Michael can tell you about it anytime.
You can send me a friend request on Facebook and I will see it eventually.
Okay.
When I do see it, I will accept it.
Okay, we'll go ahead and get you added.
Nice.
And Zach, thank you for making the time to join it. All of you guys, I really appreciate it. It's just a lot of fun for me, and I think it seems to be fun for other people from the feedback I'm getting. People seem to enjoy it. So
it was a great time.
Will get this. I've had a great time too. I'll get this edited and hopefully posted tonight.
Excellent.
I don't know how long this is going to be because I've lost track of time, so I may do it in 2 videos if it's real long. But anyway, they'll be up there soon. And thank you guys all for joining me.
Well, Andrew,
Awesome.
The only editing that I think you need to do is take all the mean stuff Linder said about me out. If you could do that, I'd be happy.
If you could just go ahead and take everything else but that out and just give only the mean stuff I said about him, it would still be like an hour-long video. So
No, it was good. It was good.
Right.
Thanks for having us.
Thanks a lot, Andrew.
Thanks
a lot, everybody.
And I may do another one of these before Wednesday. I go back to work Wednesday night. If I can squeeze one in, I'll send out a notice. And whoever can join, jump in where you fit in.
Perfect.
Thanks, guys.
All right.
And
Yep,
Dana.
stay on
Thanks a
target.
lot.
You guys.
Bye, y'all.
Take care, everybody.